biggest motivation in life, is to compete, find different competitions in certain things in life and try to overcome that, be it positive or negative. But I have yet to meet someone who is as competitive as me, and I just feel that much confident about my competitive drive. I'm a firm believer that if you have a good game, your game is going to say that. You don't have to say it. So I guess just trying to play down some of the trash talking, animosity that's in words and the whole promotional thing. Let your game be your promotion, your marketing tool. And that was our whole era, Our game gave the labels of what our basketball skills were. And then the marketing came back around that. Now it's changed, So I'm trying to revert back to where your game do all your talking instead of what we may say and what someone else may say about your game.
In your life, what is your greatest regret?
Oh. I really don't have regrets. I am a person that says, as soon as you look back in your history and you come up with something that you feel like you want to change, something else has to change. So.
What about your biggest disappointment?
Once again, that's the same analogy. Disappointment to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. So I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am and understand the benefits and the privileges I have for being who I am, and not to wear it on my sleeve, be very humble about it. That's one thing my parents taught me very well is, don't wear your reputation, don't wear your accolades, don't wear your personality on your sleeve. Let it happen, let it be you. It is who you are. Don't hide from it, but don't wear it and rub it in people's faces.
1996, you've retired, you've come back, you led the Bulls to the best record in the NBA. Were the finals different? Did you approach them differently, or did you have a different perspective this time as opposed to the previous 3 times?
Everyone questioned my ability because I basically took it on myself to come back to the game that physically I wasn't ready to play. And people started suspecting my skills, and the motivation came from those comments. And getting back in 1996 to the finals soothed some of that, but it didn't really end it until we won a championship.
The clinching game in this series came on Father's Day.
True.
Ironic. First time you're in a situation like this without your father. Right. How special was that?
It was very special. I think it was a signal to some degree that he was supporting me. I hadn't performed without his guidance, but I knew that at some point in time he was with me throughout the course of me playing the game of basketball. And to end it on Father's Day was very, very special. And it was certain emotions that I couldn't really control because I couldn't really enjoy it with the person who I felt influenced it all. And that meant a lot to me.
Jerry Reinsdorf. I mean, what else can I say? The next year I come back, I broke my foot. I was out for 65 games. And when I came back, I wanted to play. He and the doctors, they came up with this whole theory that you can only play 7 minutes a game, but I'm practicing 2 hours a day. I'm saying, well, I don't agree with that math, And back then, it was about whoever had the worst record get the most balls and the ping pong balls, and you can decide what pick you're gonna have. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to win. I wanted to make the playoffs. I wanted to keep that energy going in Chicago. So I had to go in his office and sit down with him. And I said, Jerry, I feel like I should play more than 14 minutes. I'm practicing 2 hours. He says, MJ, I think I have to protect the long term of investment that we've invested in you. And I said, Jerry, I really think I should be able to play. He said, let me ask you this. He said, if you had a headache, and at that time it was about 10% chance that I can re-injure my ankle or my foot. He says, if you have a headache and you got 10 tablets and one of them is coated with cyanide, would you take the Tylenol? And I looked at him, I said, how bad is the headache? Depending on how bad the headache. Jerry looked at me and said, "You okay? I guess that's a good answer. You can go back and play." He let me allow to go back and play.
Could you have imagined when you first started playing that one day you'd be sitting up here running a company that's worth $500 million?
No, I never really thought about it. All I thought about was doing what I was good at and letting that open up a lot of opportunities for me and choosing from that point on.
Now, your desire to win and your toughness on the team as a result of that is absolutely legendary and was explored in The Last Dance. Luke described your leadership style as carnivorous. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that from his perspective. Quite naturally, yes, I can see that. And look, I didn't go in there with that mentality. That's how it's gonna. It's just so my mentality was to win at all costs, and pull, push, yank, whatever to get everybody on the same page. And I understand it. And the thing is that if I were to change my personality back, to something totally different, I wouldn't be who I would have been. I don't think we would have had the same successes. I think a lot of players probably wouldn't have been the same in terms of their perspective. So yeah, I can see him saying that. But the thing is that I think it was needed in some respect, and I think our success illustrates that.
It was a sweep, but the games themselves aren't as memorable as the way the series ended.
The Chicago Bulls are headed to the NBA Finals. As time runs down, Pistons wasting no time in getting out of here. They left the bench, although there's 7 and 9/10 seconds remaining. The Pistons just left.
When you guys got past the Pistons and they had an early exit from Game 4, did you take that personally?
No. Get your up, you can walk out of the building any way you want. The point is that to us it was gratifying. We beat them so bad that they didn't want to shake our hands. That to me was that was an accomplishment. What happened was we just got past that hump, and we never looked back.
You've surrounded yourself with a very small group of people. Your bodyguards who are more friends than bodyguards, sure. People that you've known for years. How do you make friends and know for sure that no one's trying to get an angle on Micheal Jordan, no one wants something from you?
Friends are built over time. It's not built over short periods of time, and my friendship has been built over time, long periods of time where gradually my trust in you has increased, and those 7 guys that are hanging with me have been with me ever since I came in Chicago, and they didn't really start traveling with me until after a 7 or 8 year period. And then that's how trust is built. My true friends are the ones that I grew up with. David Bridges, Buzz Peterson, those type of guys who have known me way before I could, shoot a basketball. But then along the way, I've grown with other friendships, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Amar Rashad, all these type of guys who over a period of time we've become closer, and that's how I value friendship, is a period of time of being and knowing that person.
What does it all mean to you, though, when it finally hits you? Does it mean, because you have sort of been elected a role model, and
yes.
I think you handled it so well. You really do. Not everybody who is an athlete, just because you're an athlete or just because you're famous, doesn't mean you deserve the title, but I think you do. You're the classiest act I know.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
He is.
It's a big responsibility,
Yeah.
that. It's a big responsibility, and it's, you're so susceptible to a lot of different things, and I think the good outweigh the bad,
right,
by all means. And to be admired by kids or anybody, the admiration that I've gotten from grown-ups as well as kids gives me the sense of motivation to move further and enjoy what I do and the example that I tried to live. But, I mean, no matter how you look at it, I'm still just as normal a human being as, I got to go to the bathroom just like everybody else.
And just did. We were waiting on it.
As you leave the game, what message do you want to leave to young athletes that are coming on?
Be true to the game, because the game will be true to you. If you try to shortcut the game, then the game's going to shortcut you. If you put forth the effort, good things will be bestowed upon you. You know, that's truly about the game. And in some ways, that's about life, too.
I've had countless conversations with some of the players, and if I can put it in the most simplest terms, is that, you know, you have to give up bits and pieces of who you are for the benefit of the team. And that can be, you know, something so simple as either, you know, response, you know, support, spending time, having lunch, dinner, either way. I learned that later in my years, because initially in basketball, I was so focused in my craft that that's what matters the most. But to win, you have to give parts of yourself to other people and look at people in a different manner and come to accept them. Ryder Cup is very similar in the same sense. I mean, yeah, you got Tiger Woods on your team. Tiger Woods can only win 1 point.
Yeah, 1 point.
You know, and he may not even win. It depends on if you're playing alternate shot. So it's things that you have to, you know, factor in. Our best asset is on singles, you know, but we always seem to struggle in alternate shot and best ball. And that, I think, has been something that the European team has always been able to capitalize on. And for us, we should learn from that.
What person had the biggest impact on your career?
My brother.
Your brother?
He's a year older than I. He's much smaller than I. And he was my challenge, my competition as a kid, basketball-wise or sports-wise. He wanted to excel, I wanted to excel. We competed against each other in the backyard in basketball. We end up in fights, arguments, you know, about the sport. So my determination came trying to beat him. And if I could beat him, I could beat anybody.
One of the themes of this story in Luke's life, it's sort of charting Luke's life, is the fact that he did have to change. He was a gentle giant. He got to the NBA, he had to kind of put on the armour and toughen up. And then he found, once his NBA career was over, he found it very difficult to shed that sort of tough armour that he'd had to sort of gird himself with. And that he quite struggled with that for quite a long time. Can you relate to that?
110%. Part of my struggles after the game is my competitive drive. You know, I was such a competitive player, and each and every day felt the need to always get ahead of my opponent. Well, when you're out of sports and you're in, you know, in normal life, you know, you don't shed that armor that you actually have coated yourself with, you know, based on your lifestyle and that work ethic. You know, it's just, you have to find your way around it, and that's frustrating, and sometimes that's even tough, you know, because of the competitive nature that I have. I look at everything from a competitive nature, you know, and I tell my wife all the time is that I'm cursed. I'm cursed from a competitive standpoint that, you know, I cannot watch or compete or be a part of things without competition, you know, and that's something that, you know, I live with today, but I would not want to live without, you know, because I think it says so much about me and helped me define who I really want or was or am and attain all the things I really wanted. Now it's the challenge is to calm those nerves. You know, that's why I do a lot more fishing now. I would have never thought I would get on a boat and go fishing. But the competition of patience and being, you know, trying to catch a fish, trying to be patient, it's not going to happen. You can't make it happen. You just have to be ready when it does happen. Those are all things that I think calms me down a lot more than if I'm playing a sport, you know, if I'm playing golf or if I'm doing anything competitive. Because I think that, you know, that's what I need. That's the therapy that I need to help soothe some of these competitive juices that I have.
Do you study pro basketball history?
Sure. I think that's the way you learn about dealing with all different types of players, dealing with the game and the expanding of the game. You brought a different attitude, a different expansion to the game. Magic, Larry, myself.
It's my opinion that today's players have trouble relating to longevity and a historical perspective about the game because of the economics. It's get in, make the money, and then get out. What's your opinion about that?
I agree with you. I think for years ago, you know, the players came in after a 4-year college experience of learning how to play the game, learning more about the physical aspects of the game, but then at the same time learning the knowledge of the game. And then once you get on this level, you apply that against the best players in the world. That only improves or enhances that mental toughness or the beauty of the game, the dedication to the game, the opportunities that the game provides. Not monetarily. That so happens to be a part of the game. I got a feeling that, even today, I still have that feeling. If you didn't get paid a dime, we still play the game of basketball somewhere. So the love of the game is something that either you have or you don't. You either love the game for what it's about, not for what it provides. A lot of times I think today's athletes, they love the game for what it provides instead of what it is.
You said you stumbled upon your dream. Is the level of success you've achieved far beyond anything you've envisioned?
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, I've envisioned myself playing as a kid, playing professional baseball, because I started baseball when I was 6 years old, and I had most of my success as a child in baseball. And I really didn't have my success in basketball until in my later years. I never chased that dream of becoming a professional basketball player or even a professional baseball player. I just played the sport because I loved it. And because of the work that I put into it, next thing you know, success was kind of bestowed upon me without me actually chasing it. It just happened. I didn't think I would ever be this successful.
I didn't know if I could do it. I had to build up strength within myself to pursue life after James Jordan, in an arena that he was so much a part of me. And my mother helped me through it. I had to think about the conversation. My wife and all my friends was on the plane. I mean, that was the toughest part about coming back and playing.
Do you think about your dad every day?
All the time. I mean, I got a picture of him on my mirror. When I get up, I wash it, whatever. I'm thankful. If anything, I'm not really regretful. I'm thankful that I had him for 31 years, that he taught me so much to move forward and past tragedy and sadness and downtime or down things or negative things in my life. If I hadn't had that education, I'm pretty sure I'd still be mentally broken apart. But he taught me so much to turn a negative into a positive that, in the wake of his death, I've been able to, turn that and say, instead of, having so much anger towards the people who caused this death, but to turn it to a point where, hey, this guy was with me for 31 years. He taught me so much. He's inside of me. I just got to move forward, and I cannot let anger overtake what he's taught me.
As unlikely as it seems, is there anything that you wanted to accomplish on the court in your career that you didn't accomplish?
No. I can't think that, in terms of accolades or in terms of, my level of the game of basketball, I felt like I enhanced it to the maximum when I retired in 1998. I won every accolade individually, team-oriented, things of that nature. So, I mean, when you look at that, no, I don't think there's anything out there that I feel like, okay, I left that on the table. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing about it for me was duplication, being that staying on that highest of level of excellence, showing that, it's not easy to get here, or once you get here, it's harder to stay. And the challenge of staying and playing at that same level was the beauty that I saw. And I feel like if I can ever think about, what I miss about the game was being that consistent each and every day. That, every time a naysayer say he can't do this, well, I think I can prove you wrong. I think I can do that.
I don't think there's anything like playing sports.
Really? I think being a rock star is pretty good. Don't you? Isn't it kind of like that? Like if you were on a stage every night with like Bono, I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, but I think the difference is like...
The difference is in our sport,
yeah,
in all honesty, is you get paid off of potential. A rock star, you have to be good. You get paid off of potential in our sport.
Oh, really? Yeah, because every game, it's about the potential.
Well, even then, if you come in now, most of our young kids come in now, we don't know how great they're going to be, but yet they got 5-year guaranteed, millions of dollars, admirations of many.
But don't you think
endorsement
that's
deals.
partly because of you?
Partly interpreted totally wrong. And I would say that with
Well, straighten me out.
I will straighten you out, sweetie, I promise.
Yeah, but let me say this one thing.
No, let him straighten me out
Okay.
first. Yeah, why?
You see why? I mean, he dominates everything.
No, I want you to tell me why.
The reason is that when you look back in our era,
Yeah.
you know, Micheal Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley's, we earned what we got. That means when the corporate people came up, and I don't mean to demean the young kids, because I think it's something that they have to learn, and hopefully they will learn that, is that when the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration and what
Sponsorship and all that, yeah.
Now they get that before they play one game.
Yeah.
So you're rolling the dice to see if this kid's ever going to be good or not.
Yeah.
So in essence, you're paying the kid off of potential
Yeah.
that he may be great.
You don't think that's good?
No, because I think it sets bad work ethic. When you get something so easily, you're not going to work as hard.
You don't think so? Okay.
I mean, but the word that she just mentioned was selfish. I think we all are selfish in some respect, because I think to be successful, you have to somewhat have a tunnel vision about how you want to, or you perceive yourself. Either you're going to deal with certain things, you're not going to deal with certain things, you're going to, that day that you don't want to hang out with people, you're going to do things that you're going to work out on your own. You're selfish in your own right. Every successful person has to be. That's the only way you're going to get the tunnel vision to be successful. Now, how you channel that selfishness, in our game, the team sport, you have to give up some of it, but we still have it, because we have individual, goals that we try to meet. They have to maintain it because they don't have anybody else that they got to rely upon. So selfish plays a big part in all of successful athletes or, business, because you have to have the focus to make sure you do what you have to do. You don't care about anybody else to that degree so that you can be successful.
Are you a good father, Michael?
I think I am. And each and every day, it's still a learning experience about fatherhood. No one's a perfect father. And I think being parents is certainly a learning experience. And my kids are great, and they have a lot of my personality, a lot of my wife's personality, but we as parents have to teach them about making other decisions, and that's a challenge.
You think it's going to be tough growing up with a famous dad? Does that put a strike on them, do you think?
Yes, I think so, because there's expectations of my kids in terms of what I did as a kid and what I did as a superstar in some respects. So I mean, they are children of a superstar. So I mean, they're going to have one strike against them. But the most fortunate thing is that I'm there every day to help them deal with that. And my wife is there too. So I mean, it's a great challenge for us to have. But I think my kids are going to be able to surpass that. I think that's the beauty of it all.
For all of the things that you have going for you in life, and it is considerable. I mean, you are the Michael Jackson of professional sports, all of sports, truly. That you don't ever lose sight of the fact that, my God, I love playing this game. I love the fact that I can virtually have anything I want, but I never forget who I am. You are anchored to that belief.
And that comes from my parents, I think. It's great. I love the game of basketball, and I feel that if I didn't get paid right now, I still play the game of basketball without a doubt. And I don't want to ever lose that love. If I do, then I want to quit. I know this is a business. I know a lot of people make a lot of money in the game of basketball. But no one can express or pay the love that I have for the game, because I've done it for so many years. And it's brought me some riches, and it's brought me some different things, but I still owe basketball a lot, and I still love the game.
This is the final question. Can you repeat the following after me and then fill in the blank? The greatest thing about the game of basketball is...
The greatest thing about the game of basketball to me is the passion, the love that I have for it. Because when you have love for anything, you'll go to the extreme to maintain that love. that's what love does. It love drives you to do everything you need to maintain that connection. If I didn't have the love for the game of basketball, all the things that I just panned out to you in my career would have never been achievable for me. But it was truly my love for the game that kept me pushing to be the best basketball player that I could be. To be the best at anything, you gotta have a certain love for that to make you overcome all the obstacles that's gonna be thrown in your way.
Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, yes!
That's what the game of basketball has been for me.